Hey everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
What if season two just started and didn't stop? One episode a day, all the way through the end of the year, um, which was kind of rude. It was Christmas. It was Christmas, and I was also laid up sick. So like, it's just I was not in the mood. I got to this late, honestly, but. Wow, we've watched it all. We're gonna just recap the whole season. We're not gonna go two episode by episode because I got stuff to do. But overall, Soul, what'd you think of season two of What If?
I really liked this. And yeah, it was a little rude because I was already doing an everyday thing with 25 Days of Christmas. So then to have What If come out every day, I was like, I'm not doing this, except for the one episode that was Christmas themed. I did that on the 24th day. But other than that, I did not watch all of this until
No,
like today was literally
we
today.
we threw around the idea of doing it. I was already trying to take the month off, and then I got sick. But honestly, it seems like the majority of the internet had the same idea, which was like, yeah, we're not doing this the week of Christmas. Like
Yeah.
every reaction and review channel on Earth, with the exception of I think Real Rejects, I think pretty much
Yeah.
everybody else was like, we'll see you in January.
Yeah.
We're going on vacation. No, that's not happening.
This is
So
family time. Thank you for the daily like dosage, but I'm not putting anything online about
no, if they were
it.
gonna do it like that, they should have done it weekly and then just had the Happy Hogan episode drop on Christmas. Honestly,
Right.
I don't get me wrong, I appreciate the hustle, Marvel. It was the week of Christmas. Come on.
I appreciated it dropping on Nochebuena, which is when
Yeah.
we celebrate Christmas. So I was just like, okay, shout out to having it on the 24th.
I'm really curious what the numbers for this season are going to look like because I can't imagine the initial streaming numbers were awesome. I feel like this is
Mm.
going to be one of those like they'll see the numbers go up now that we're out of the holidays, but I
Yeah.
just yeah, I wonder what those initial numbers look like. It also kind of make because at first when I heard they were doing this, I remember thinking, oh, the numbers are going to be low. I wonder if this season's going to suck, and so they're dumping it during the holidays so they can blame
Mhm.
that for the low streaming numbers.
Right.
But I mean, we'll never know. But yeah, I enjoyed this season to a point. I wildly prefer season one in every stretch of the imagination, but this season still gave me. We were talking. I think the first like 6 episodes, I was in. From there, it gets a little iffy, but uh, let's get in. Let's get into what were some of your favorite moments from this season or favorite episodes?
So I know that you don't like it as much as I do, but the Kahori episode,
Yeah.
I love. What if Kahori reshaped the world? I loved that episode. It's probably my favorite. I also like the Happy Hogan because that's just basically Die Hard. It's Die
Marvel
Hard
Die
but
Hard.
Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Marvel
that
Die
was,
Hard.
and then 1602 made me laugh the most and made me want to go reread
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman's 1602. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do that after this. But Kahori, the fact that barely any of that episode is in English, it's all in either Mohawk or Spanish.
Mhm.
And I was talking to our friend Tushka, who he's part of Choctaw Nation, and I was going, this is basically that meme of on Instagram where it's like, you're calling on your ancestors for help, but you're Latino, so your ancestors are Native American, Black, and European, so they're just fighting each other. And I was like, this is literally my ancestors fighting each other. I was like, because I have Native American roots in
Yeah.
Cuba, and then I have Spanish roots from Spain. So I was just like, I'm just watching my people like not have a good time with each other.
And
But
I'm a white Irish guy, so you know. I'm just sitting here just kind of going like, wow, I'm not involved in any of this. It's kind of refreshing.
I thought the music was beautiful
Yeah.
And I even laughed when, even though Doctor Strange shows up and then we see why at the last episode, which is not great, but saying world peace in record time made me laugh a little bit. And I really enjoyed this. And I thought that they did a really good job with the Spaniard accents because I think most of the people who were playing the Spanish characters were of Mexican descent or Mexican actors. And there's only a few times where I could hear the Mexican accent, and it's usually by the soldiers. But Gonzalo, because you
Mhm.
gotta say this the Spanish way, and Queen Isabella, like they were pretty flawless on the Spaniard accent. So I
Yeah.
just really enjoyed that episode.
Well, a lot of times you're putting out casting calls for voice actors who can speak Spanish fluently. Yeah, yeah, I imagine you kind of have to take what you can get.
Yeah.
It's harder. I imagine it's a much you got to cast a much wider net. I think to
Hmm.
get Spanish as opposed to just generic Spanish to misuse that term. But I gotta say they had me in episode one with Blade Runner Nebula.
Right.
You gave the entire episode of Blade Runner Nebula set in the MCU. Okay, I'm on board. Like literally when she's walking to the car and the door opens and it lifts up, like this is literally Blade Runner. Even the story arc itself is very reminiscent of Blade Runner 2049. So uh, when they did that episode, I'm like, okay, somebody just probably just watched those and were like, hey guys, can we do this? To which I say yes, and do that more, please. I also, throughout all these episodes and in season one as well, like the music was always absolutely stellar. But I really got to give props to the episode with the Grand Masters planet with Tony and Gamora. The
Mhm.
sound design on
Yeah.
that episode when they're punching gears and the cars are doing stuff, the sound design of all the tech on that episode was absolutely to die for. I will also say I really enjoyed Captain Carter fighting the Hydra Stomper. That one
Mhm.
hit me in feels
A great love
more.
story, these two.
I just it's one of those things where it's like Cap and Peggy finally had their happy ending in Endgame.
Yeah.
And I said this after the first Captain Carter episode of season one. I never need to see Peggy and Steve not work out ever.
Right.
They
We saw
they
it twice.
and I had to see it twice. I need them to always make it. I need them to
Mhm.
always be truly the greatest love story in all of the MCU. That's why it was literally the last shot of Endgame. So like for them to have it to where they twice now don't make it, I'm like I feel attacked.
Right. At the end of 1602, I was just like, no, not again. No.
I that was the fact that they did that was because when they said, "Oh, Stranger from the Future," I thought that was going to be Doctor Strange.
Right.
I was waiting for that reveal. When it was revealed to be Steve, I was like, "Oh, not again! No, I just sat through. Don't no. Why would you do this to me twice in the same season? It's not fair." So, but that being said, all prop in the world to Haley Atwell, who, despite not acting alongside Chris Evans in these episodes, still managed to just like she just. I don't think she ever gets enough credit up there with Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. as far as like just truly stellar casting in the MCU. She is Peggy Carter, and as much Captain Carter as we got this season. Can I just get a Captain Carter animated series already?
Right.
I'd love it live action. I'm not trying to be greedy. If you could just give me an animated Captain Carter series of her just kicking ass, I'd be over the moon.
I felt like low key, if you take both seasons together, this is Captain Carter's story.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
with that, I'm feeling like if we do get a season three,
Oh, we
and
are.
especially, oh, we are, and then
They
just
already they
her
already
and,
they already released a teaser for it and said it's coming
oh, okay,
soon.
well, her and the Watcher are going off, like taking a the scenic route before going back to her world. So I feel
Mm.
like we're gonna get a lot of Captain Carter.
Well, they're taking the scenic route through Yggdrasil, which is, what we
Yeah.
saw at the end of Loki. So it's very clear that with Loki taking his place as the god of stories at the end of season 2, this is now, it's like, no, I know we give Marvel a lot of grief for being a little disjointed right now, not seeming to have as quite a cohesive plan with things, especially with what went down with Jonathan Majors. But this is that first time where it's like, okay, the stuff from Loki season 2 is now going to start playing out,
Yeah.
which has me feeling like I feel like maybe we were supposed to get to Loki season 2 sooner. I don't know. Again, I know that like release dates got shuffled and stuff all throughout phase 4, and that kind of threw things into a weird swing. But and I know that also with the strikes putting stuff kind of, it's been a weird couple of years, guys. So
Right
it
after
just
COVID too.
yeah, it just kind of makes me feel like, okay, this happened a lot in the early 2000s and in the 90s too, where like TV shows or episodes would get released out of order. Um, and this feels like kind of the same thing, where it's like this is again feeling like stuff was supposed to come out in a different order. And so this is the first time that What If feels like it's actually going to play into the bigger picture of things. Because like her cameo in Multiverse of Madness was cool, but it was a cameo. Now it's like, oh no, this might actually have grand sweeping repercussions. All right, now that I've rambled, what I feel like I have more negative to say about this season than I do positive. I like this season, but I got stuff. Let me go to you first, though, Saul. What's not sitting with you?
I mean, Disney Plus just keeps doing to us over and over and over again. Give us a great season and then have a crappy last episode.
Oh my god, it's
Where the lessons that Strange learned in season 1 apparently don't matter anymore, and he's just doing the same thing over again, and it was just too much. There was too much going on, and it felt like they saw across the Spider-Verse and was just like, see all those Spider-Men, like let's just do that, but with like every single person in the multiverse, we're just gonna bring them all in one room and they're gonna fight each other, and like there's literally gonna be no cohesion, no like really story with it. They're gonna be going up and down because we have Peggy and Kahora fighting Strange, and they're using their powers. So these poor people are going up and down, almost to their death. And then just everyone just hands Peggy and Kahora all of the 10 rings, Hela's helmet, like literally, like let's just make the most OP character like at the end of Secret Invasion, where we're like, let's give
thank
them all
you.
the powers.
Okay,
And I was just like, what are we doing here? Like literally episode 1 through 8 I love with my whole being, and I had such a good time with every single episode. And then you have to bring them all together because you brought them all together in season 1, and it's just like, ugh, why?
the secret invasion metaphor is all I've been thinking about since that final. I'm like, this is secret invasion all over again. We're gonna create the most OP characters known to all of you, all of Marvel kind, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. We're just doing it to do it. And I'm like, and again, I know this is What If. I know What If is, it's in the title, like do whatever you want, and I get that. Season 1 at least spent, like, we had the Thor episode where Thor was a single and only child. It ends with Ultron Vision coming through, and it's like, oh shit, what's that about? And then we get a whole episode dedicated to how this came to be and why it's a problem. And it ended with the cliffhanger of like, oh, this still has lasting repercussions. And it was like they spread that out over 2.5 episodes, basically. This was all in one. We had 2 5-second cameos from Doctor Strange not doing anything nefarious, just
Yeah.
existing, just being there, just like, hey, what's up? I'm Doctor
Yeah.
Strange. Cool. Later. And then suddenly he's the big bad of the season. And honestly, I'm also of that mindset of like, I'm a little tired of Doctor Strange being the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm as a Doctor Strange fan, as someone who feels like he has had I think two very good movies in the MCU. Plus he was easily the best part of Infinity War. Plus the great growth we had with this particular Doctor Strange in season
Yeah.
1 of What If. This just felt like we have no ideas. So let's
Yeah.
just make Doctor Strange evil again. And I'm like, I don't
All
need
that
him
growth gone.
gone. He has to relearn the exact same lesson all over again in the end. And it ultimately means nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing because his universe gets restored. He doesn't get to be a part of it, but it's restored. And I'm just like, we learned this lesson. We didn't need to do it
Yeah.
again. It was really, as again, and it would be like if they did this with Batman, like in a DC movie. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Yeah, can we not do this every time? Why is this always like our default? We have nothing to do. It's another evil Doctor Strange, and it's like, okay, we get it. Yeah, but there was just, I don't know. To me, the more interesting thing to do would have been to have Kaori become the big bad of the season. Honestly, if you're going to
It would
give
have broken
someone,
my heart.
it would have broken it, but not so much that we have to defeat her, but just like that she gets the idea of essentially being imbibed with the power and the spirit of an Infinity Stone,
Mm.
and could potentially, especially given what Native Americans are going through at that point in history, and what the idea of like, yeah, it drove her to a point of like, you know, becoming protective of her people to a fault. Would have been much more interesting. Honestly, I think that kind of goes into like, and I want to be clear, it's not that I had a problem with the Kaori episode. I liked it for what it was. I think there was a huge missed opportunity in that there are lots of Native American Marvel characters we could have used. So many. I don't understand the reasoning behind creating an original one when there are so many that already exist. Granted, not in the MCU in the comics, but again, that's kind of the point of What If. It's like if you've already got characters that have backstories and stuff you can mess with. So I don't totally understand the point of creating a new one, especially when you consider the fact that we're recording this on the night at 9 p.m. on January 6th. Echo starts in a few days.
Yeah.
And it was like, if this had at least been like a Choctaw tribe, I would have been like, oh, you could do something
Yeah.
ancestral link, whatever, whatever, cool. But it's a different tribe altogether. So I'm just like, I don't know. It was a curious choice. And then to have her come back in the finale as just her and Peggy are just OP
Yeah.
beyond all reason, because Kaori gets the power of the Infinity Stone, and even in her episode kind of had the same problem with what happened with Amelia Clark's character in Secret Invasion, where it's like she gets these powers and masters them in a day, and her powers are everything: portals, levitation, super speed, matter manipulation. I'm like, okay, the space stone was for portals. That was the space stone. That was it. Where are all these other powers coming from that have nothing to do with the space stone? And then to have her be in the finale with Captain Carter, who then just gets the Infinity Armor because apparently Kaori is now so powerful she can just the Infinity Armor out of nowhere,
Right.
and Peggy gets it and just is able to use it. I'm also still trying to figure out how everybody who is not Ultron is suddenly able to wield the Infinity Stones without dying instantly,
Right.
because it fried 50% of the Incredible Hulk, and it
Yeah.
killed Tony Stark. So why is everybody else suddenly able to use them with it, and then everyone throwing
Yeah.
their weapons down to them, and that didn't make a lick of sense
I mean,
whatsoever.
I got it. I got what they were doing, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And with me, I wish Kaori stayed in her episode. And
Yeah.
that was just one contained episode because I loved that episode so much. And seeing her then come, I was just like, oh, this kind of taints her episode a little bit.
It
But then I'm
does.
like, I don't want it to taint it, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna pretend like she wasn't there or
Which
something.
which
Like,
which might be seasoning a little bit of my dislike of her episode in retrospect, because it
yeah,
just because as interesting as her episode was, she was so misused in that. I mean,
I agree.
the finale, and I don't want to be like the finale is not all care. The finale is a hot mess. The
Yeah,
finale is an absolute hot mess.
take
Uh,
Kaori out, and it's still a crap
it's
finale.
still a disaster. I mean,
Yeah,
take everything out. It's just not good. Which again is a bummer, because the first the first 6 episodes, like the first one all the way through Kaori's, are the best. Hello with the 10 Rings was a neat idea. I just don't think
I liked it.
it was fine. Like, it was a perfectly good episode. It
Yeah,
just was like like, when I go back and rewatch this season, I'm probably gonna skip that one, only because
mhm,
like I think we as a collective have been jonesing for more Shang-Chi since that movie came out,
yeah,
and we've had nada.
yeah.
We've
I
had
was
nothing, and the fact that this episode ties into Shang-Chi, but he's nowhere to be found, I'm just kind of
mhm.
like, then why are we here?
With me, even though I would like to see more Shang-Chi, I still really enjoyed that episode. If we took the last episode out, I think the episode that, and still, it was a very good episode. But if I would just say like a least favorite, it would be the Peter Quill one.
Oh, I love that episode.
That one was just okay to me. So
Oh,
like if I'm going like the Nebula Nova Corps, I was like, that was really cool. It
yeah.
was like the seedy underground kind of thing. It was very interesting.
Always need more Howard the Duck.
The Peter Quill, I was like, that's okay. Happy Hogan saving Christmas. I loved it.
Excellent.
And even though they obviously made a Christmas story reference, I also said in the review that I think that they made a Jingle All the Way reference, subtle.
Oh, they
And
absolutely did. They
and
1,000% did.
and the way that he was dancing, Hammer was dancing, I was like, that's kind of like the guy in Charlie's Angels. So I felt like that was a Charlie's Angels reference as well.
Well, it's the same actor, so
Yeah.
that works out.
And
That's
then
I didn't think about that till now. So I was just thinking about him dancing in Iron Man 2. So that
yeah.
worked out great.
But I was just like, he did this in Charlie's Angels.
He did.
And Iron Man Grandmaster, I was like, okay, we're getting a fun race. This is cool. Like, it's not what I thought it was going to be, but it's cool. Captain Carter, Hydra Stomper, kill me with the emotions. Like,
Yes.
why don't you? Kaori, I was just like, I loved that episode. To me, it's the best one out of all of them. Hell of 10 Rings, that was fun. 1602, Happy Hogan in 1602, just speaking Shakespearean
Yeah.
was cracking me up because Tony speaking Shakespearean made sense.
Yeah.
Like, but Happy Hogan speaking Shakespearean, freaking hilarious. But then we go to the last episode, and I'm like, and now I hate this. What are we doing?
I like the 1602 episode. I was kind of hoping that it would be more standalone than what it was.
Mm,
We're going to do a 1602 episode, but also, if you're going to make the 1602 episode the one that's supposed to like be the beginning of the through line to the end with more Captain Carter, then I feel like Doctor Strange should have been more involved. Again,
yeah.
it goes back to, if you're
And
going
I
to have
don't think
Doctor
they said
Strange.
incursion, but an incursion was basically happening. I don't think they used that word.
No, they didn't use any of the terminology from Loki season 2, and I really wish they had.
And they use that in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness too. They use that term.
Yeah, again, it was just there was a lot of missed opportunities this season. And actually, to speak on the Grandmaster episode, I really enjoyed the episode. Like Marvel Wacky Races, Marvel Mario Kart, give
Yeah.
give me that video game yesterday.
Yes.
Like custom building Marvel themed racers to fuck my opponents up. It's like, yes, it'll bring out the worst in me. Absolutely. Like Mario
You're
Kart
going to be Topaz in
I'm
that.
gonna be Topaz. Look, Mario Kart got me banned from the game room in college. So like, but give me the video game yesterday. Give me the mobile game. I don't care. I'll pay for it. I want it now. But they pitched the episode to us as being the origin of Gamora from season one.
Yeah.
We didn't get. This was supposed to be a season one episode that they didn't have room for it, so they moved to the season two. And so, like, it was a huge pitch was you're going to learn all about Gamora from season one and all of that. I'm like, cool. She's got like maybe 3 minutes of screen time.
Right.
So I
Hey,
was
she
kind of
kills
like,
Thanos though.
she does, but I was like, oh, but it's not Gamora's episode.
Yeah.
It's Tony's episode, which is fine, but that's not what I was sold on.
Right.
So
right.
I felt kind of, again, it was one of those like, feel cheated a little bit.
I feel like there was another episode written for Gamora in season one. And then when they were writing the episodes for season two, they were like, oh shit, we never did Gamora's episode. Well, and they kind of just fit her in here.
They said when season one came out that they were like that they had an episode for her.
Yeah. I think they scrapped that. I don't think this is the same. This is me this is me not knowing shit. This is purely headcanon. But I think they scrapped the episode that was her episode and then forgot about not doing a backstory for her and then added her into Tony's episode.
See now you got me wondering. I wonder if they did that because of Guardians 3. Like, I don't know. Because Guardians 3 is kind of like the ribbon on top of Gamora's story as far as like the MCU proper goes. I don't know. Hi Archie in the background. How you doing, buddy? Get down. Thank you. Anyway, that's interesting. I do wonder about that too. I haven't been able to find any info on whether or not it was the episode. I know that was a big thing at the end of season one. They were like, yeah, we know you don't know where she came from.
Right.
I don't know. Again, it's just one of those. I was like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, this is good. It's just not what I thought I was getting. But also, anytime I get more Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster is Christmas. That's
I'm melting.
It's just any chance you have to give me more of him, I will take. I never, again, like talking about 10 out of 10 castings in the MCU, there is no other actor on earth that could make the Grandmaster work other than Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I agree.
All in all, and yeah, we did get a teaser for season 3 that came out like a day after season 2 ended. If you haven't seen it yet, it's really funny. It's about like Red Guardian and Bucky on a road trip on the run from the law, and that's absolutely.
I didn't see fantastic. That. I didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's so good, and it said season 3 is coming soon, and I'm like, cool. But about season 2, I will say, I think the reason I like the 80s episode with Peter Quill so much is because of just the idea of like, yeah, who is around? And obviously Sebastian Stan loves doing these because he's always I will say about that episode, the fact that like, even for this season in general, that they still got the majority of the actual actors to come back. Like there were a few, obviously they couldn't because cha-ching, you're not going to get Robert Downey Jr. back. It's not going to happen. But like
Chris, you're not getting Scarlet.
You're not getting Scarlet. And Lake Bell does a great job. But you have Chris Hemsworth back. You had Michael Douglas back again. You have Haley Atwell in there. The actor who plays Tony's dad, and I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden, but he was there. You get Lawrence Fishburne back. You get Sebastian Stan in there. You get Kurt Russell, for crying out loud,
Yeah.
to come back. I mean, and also the actor, and this is something I didn't know. I actually had to Google this. So the actor who was doing the voice of King T'Chaka is the same actor that played him in the
Oh,
flashback
okay.
at the beginning of Black Panther. And what I also didn't know was that actor is the son of the actor that plays older King T'Chaka.
Hmm.
John Connie plays older T'Chaka, and I'm blanking on his son's name, but he basically plays the younger version of his dad.
Nice.
So they got him back. So the fact that the only people in that episode that weren't voicing them, weren't the original actor, was the actress, was they didn't have Annette Bening back to play her character from Captain Marvel, and obviously it's not the same actors playing Hope and Peter Quill because children.
Yeah.
But that they were able to get them all back like that for just such a cool episode of like, yeah, and also something I didn't know I needed in my life, which is Howard Stark and Peggy Carter seeing the Winter Soldier and being like, "Oh my God, that's Bucky," and then being
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit," and then having Howard be the one who gets to talk Bucky down. I was just like, I never would have tied those strings together, and that is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love that. So that's why I love that episode so much, just because when you look at it from just casting a casting standpoint and a storytelling, I'm like, man, they nailed that one. But Blade Runner Nebula is still the best. Overall, Soul, what'd you think? We've kind of said, but I mean, like, and also we didn't have zombies this season. They say
No,
the zombies
I
show
mean
is
we had some zombies in the last episode.
true, but we don't
Uh,
need to talk about the last episode.
I would say if you take away the last episode,
Mm-hmm.
this was such an enjoyable season of television.
Yes.
And I think they did such a great job, and that we see that they're doing such good storytelling. We saw them do such good storytelling in season 1, and saw them do such good storytelling for 8 of the 9 episodes of this
Yeah.
season. So I don't know if it's just like a thing now with the last episode, or if I don't know what's going on, because I see the talent behind these shows and what they're doing with these shows, like until the last episode, that I'm not understanding where it falls apart.
I think where the disconnect is happening is in a couple different places. One, this is the MCU. Nothing ever truly ends. So when it comes time to end a story, I don't think they quite know how to do that, because I think they're afraid of closing the door and locking it and then having to find a way to reopen it later when they're like, ah shit, we closed that book. Damn. Well, now we got to find a way to shoehorn it back in. I think that's part of it. I think the other problem
But
too
I mean, they closed the book on Strange learning his lesson, and they reopened that up.
I know you are preaching to the choir here. As a huge Doctor Strange fan, as someone who unironically loved Multiverse of Madness and loves the first Doctor Strange movie, I still listen to that soundtrack, for crying out loud. I agree with you. But I also think that part of the problem is, and they've said that like they're gonna start having, because like with Echo coming out, Echo's gonna be the first in what they're calling the Marvel Knights, which is an allusion to an old imprint of Marvel Comics they had, which were darker, character focused, more adult, um, non-canon runs on there. Like I have several Marvel Knights runs of Punisher, which are fantastic. So, and we're doing that with Echo, and I feel like just because the TV stuff, other than Ms. Marvel, has been like so disconnected from everything else, that I think part of the reason they haven't been able to really stick it with the endings is because they don't know if they're going to get to keep going or not. We still don't know if we're getting a season 2 of Moon Knight. We still don't know, if we're getting more, like, is Ms. Marvel getting a season 2, or is she fully in the movies now, or is what's Loki's play going to be in all of this, especially with Kang being kind of up in the air right now. And it's just one of those, I feel like just the multiverse saga hasn't been as well received as they were hoping. And I think that just with everything that's been coming out of the woodwork as far as just drama behind the scenes, Kevin Feige, I think, has kind of let things run on autopilot a little too much. And, we've heard various statements
Spread
already
himself
about
too thin.
he has spread himself too thin. That's why they said that after the strikes came back, that's why Daredevil Born Again, they were like, yeah, we've heard you guys, we're going back to square one, dedicated showrunners, more focus, and I'm pleased to hear that. Does it bum me out? That means now it's going to be longer till we get that. Yeah, but if there's one thing the MCU fans will do, we will wait for quality.
Yeah, don't give me
Always wait
shitty
for
stuff,
quality.
but have it be out quick. Like,
Yeah.
I will wait for something to be good, and if you fuck Daredevil up, like,
Well, here's what's over there. If they fuck up Daredevil, they can kiss the MCU goodbye. Because if there's one thing that people are going to lose their minds about, and we're gonna see him in Echo. We've already seen him in She-Hulk, in the like one good episode that show had. And we know that he's gonna
and
be in
in No Way Home.
Echo and in No Way Home. And they've already said that, like, yes, there is a 6-minute one-shot fight sequence between him and Echo in the show, which the moment I heard that, I mean, I was just ready to go. I'm gonna binge that whole season in a day.
Blind versus deaf. Like,
Oh God, I need it now. Just we are not talking about what if. I look, I liked season 2. I didn't love season 2. I think season 1 knocked it out of the park, was an absolute home run, 10 out of 10. All things considered with season 2, I mean, I'm not going to give it a failing grade. I'm going to give it probably like a 7 out of 10. I liked it a lot more than I didn't, but the stuff I didn't like, I really didn't like. And the finale was just, I was just kind of like, oh, we're done?
yeah,
And no post-credit scene? What are we doing? Like, just what are we doing? Why what was the point of any of this?
yeah.
And again, I know it's what if, but like they've set a standard for themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to grade this season because my highs of this season are higher than season 1. But
Fair.
my lows of the season are lower than season 1.
Yeah.
So
the stuff I didn't like about season 1 is nitpicky at best.
right. So I think I would have to literally go episode by episode to give it a grade and be like,
Yeah.
And so I'm going to say, for the most part, 8 out of 9 episodes, positive rating. Kaori episode, a very, very positive rating. But the last episode, very, very negative rating.
Yeah.
So that's just where I'm at.
I want to know where everybody else is at, though. So please let us know down in the comments, because I know the finale has been kind of a mixed bag for a lot of people in a couple different Discord servers. I've seen people debating it, just kind of like, yeah, it wasn't bad, but like it wasn't good either. Like what it just kind of was. I don't know. It's hard to say, but obviously we want to know what you guys think. So make sure you let us know down below. They say season 3 is coming soon, so I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it because it's again 8 out of 9 episodes were pretty good. It's I don't know. I feel like there were some missed opportunities this season, and I think I don't know. Maybe on a repeat viewing, now that I've seen it and know what it is, maybe on a repeat viewing I'll feel a little differently. But as of right now, I'm just kind of like, I'm glad I watched it, but like, I feel like I'm gonna like when it comes to talking about great MCU stuff. I feel like I'm gonna talk about season one a lot more than I am season two. Like season one, I can just get lost in my mind and just relive the episodes in my head. And season two was good, but I just don't know how like memorable it was. Yeah, but whatever. That's just me. That's just us. So let us know what you guys think down below. Guys, we're so close to 300 subs. Like, like, guys, we're there. Like, we could be here, but we're here. We're here. We could be here, but we're here. It's close. It's very close. So just help us get to here. We're being here is nice. We want to be here though. So help us get to here. I'm sure this is like some kind of weird ASL hand sign for something dirty, but and keep an eye out for we'll be doing Echo. We're gonna review Echo. We're gonna do a full season review since they're dropping all 5 episodes at once. With our buddy Tushka. Tushka's gonna come on here and talk about that with us too, since he is Choctaw Nation. So I would love his insight on that. Since they've made it abundantly clear it's gonna play a part in 5 episodes too. So God, I hope they're long episodes. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for us here on Off the Wall. Happy New Year, I guess. We'll see you guys again here back next time on Off the Wall. Bye.